Hello everybody and welcome back to the Team Cosmic Bodies YouTube channel. So I am Lauren and
I'm Coach Kyle.
And yeah, we are the coaches at Team Cosmic Bodies. And today's topic, which I'm actually really excited to talk about this because I feel like it is huge, is stress. And we're talking about stress in terms of fat loss and how that can actually hinder your fat loss when you are stressed out. And I think if you are starting a contest prep or you are starting a fat loss phase, I think the biggest thing we got to think about here is your stress side of things before we actually go into your prep or your fat loss. Because yes, nutrition and training and cardio all play a role, but then there's this other thing here, which is stress. And you really got to learn how to manage that first to be able to be successful with your prep and your fat loss if you're a general pop client. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about it and
yeah, especially when you are cutting calories and you might be a little bit more restrictive because you're eating less, so there's less flexibility. So because there is more structure within being in a deficit, yeah, you gotta make sure everything else is in order so you can ultimately, yeah, put the right plan in place to get to your goal. So that's going to be number one is, what is your goal? Is it realistic? Is it, right? And being able to put a plan or strategy in place that, one, it's a realistic goal. One, it can happen in your life right now. I mean, things might not necessarily be right. You could have a ton of kids, crazy job, like someone, maybe you're just, right, just stuff's not work. You're in school, you're doing too much. Sometimes if you're a dual athlete in college, or if you have a lot of things going on, it can still work, but you have to have like the right plan, strategy, realistic goals.
Yeah, because a prep in general, it's not going to be like this perfect lab experiment. Other things are going to play in a role. Like Kyle was saying, you have family, you have friends, you have events. Things come up, your work schedule. Maybe you have to work night shifts all of a sudden if you're a nurse, or maybe now you have to work full time instead of part time. Maybe you have to work a 10-hour shift or something like that. So yeah, your contest prep isn't going to be this controlled lab experiment where everything's gonna like go as planned, because it's not. So I think that having a reasonable, realistic time frame for yourself as well. So if you are gonna do a prep in 12 weeks, that could stress you out because what if you have to lose like 3 pounds a week? That's just not realistic, like whatsoever. So I think having like a good time frame, that is going to just be way less stressful on you.
Yeah, so it comes down to what plan can you stick to? Is it a good strategy for that goal? Is it a realistic goal, like she said? And so going into that with realistic goals, what was the next point we wanted to talk about?
Well, I think some people can get stressed out if like a coach just is like, okay, here is your macros and here is this spreadsheet you have to fill out.
Yeah, let's think about like the in the moment stress, okay? Because this is going to play a role with our routine and everything like that, and that structure there and how it can help out. And we can make it flexible at times, but yeah, like the day-to-day, moment to moment, whether you need like a little meal plan for yourself, whether you need a little bit of a planning ahead of what meals you go to, habitual meals, or just preparing yourself so the stress doesn't build up and you're just like winging it, so that's like in the moment acute daily stress, and how you can basically, if you set up a little plan for yourself, it could get a lot easier and you can actually stick to your goal. Would you say so? Routine? What would you say?
I mean, you have to do that. You have to set up a routine. You have to set up a structure. I mean, me being in a contest prep, I'm just like OCD in general. Like I just really thrive off of my daily flow. That routine, it becomes habitual in a way because I'm just so used to it.
Yeah, your morning routine.
Yeah.
Your night routine, like a sleep routine. Again, knowing what you're gonna do when you go into the kitchen, or already having your meals planned. Let's say you go to work every day, you have a 9 to 5. You should probably prepare your meals the night before so you're ready and you're to go there. You're not just at the office hungry and not prepared. So having that prepared meals, especially when you're fat loss, right? And just planning ahead and having that routine, whether it's the morning routine or when you go to the gym or a night routine, especially when you have kids or whatever it may be, you need to manage this time wisely.
Another big thing, another big factor here is your environment. Okay, this is a really, really big one in terms of, reaching your goal here. So say you are starting to prep or you're starting a fat loss, go and sit down with your significant other. Go sit down with your family or talk to your friends and say, hey, I'm about to start this prep. I'm about to go down this journey. I have this goal in hitting the stage or losing body fat. And I would just first of all be open with them and talk to them that you're going to do this. And I think that's really big right there.
Yeah, that's key. Like having a communication. And it might be like, hey, I might be saying no to some of these social events the next 4 months or so. I'm going to go to some of them, but I'm not going to be able to go out for drinks every Sunday and do that brunch with you, as an example, for the next 4 months. It's a temporary thing. I'll be back. We'll be having that brunch, or we can do other activities together. We can go to the gym together. We can do this, right? So maybe other activities you can do with your friends and family, or just letting them know for a temporary time when you are going to be a little bit more restrictive and less flexible with your calorie intake. You can still go to these social events, but maybe it is times you have to say no to get your other stuff done. Just like everything in health, like you have to prioritize this stuff. So if you want to lose body fat, if you have a prep, you have to prioritize that, and there will be times you have to say no, and that's okay. But you don't have to say no all the time to social events or activities or whatever it may be, right? You just have to be open communication with them so they know what's coming, or to get yourself ready in a way, right?
Yeah, I mean, what they're, kind of sit down and say what they should expect from you and what you're going to be doing. Like, hey, I'm going to be really strict with my food, and, I'm going to be going to the gym, and I'm going to be, doing cardio, and I have to say no to some things sometimes. Or
your life won't change too much. I mean, it doesn't have to.
Maybe.
It's just being, sorry to interrupt, but it won't be as much of a shock, and it won't become this big deal if you go to an event and you say, no, I can't do it, and have to explain it in the moment, compared to text prior or a phone call earlier or a meeting earlier when you kind of discussed, hey, I'm cutting for the next 4 months, compared to in the moment they're drinking, why can't you drink? And you're having an energy drink, and you have to explain this in the moment compared to earlier, preparing it, and there's less stress on you.
Yeah, and then also in terms of environment, I mean, just setting your place, like your kitchen up with the food that is in there. I mean, that's going to be huge, is making sure there's not food in there that you might want to, grab. Whether that's like Oreos or ice cream. Yeah. Now, you may be living in a situation where you have kids and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that
if you're
not going to go and overeat on, Kyle said this the other day, if you have a bunch of chicken and potatoes in your pantry or in your refrigerator, you're not going to go and overeat on that.
Yeah. Or if you do, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to overeat on clean, healthy food. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If you have to have some of these treats in your house because of other people that you live with, I mean, it's going to be around. But if you are living alone, then why would you do that to yourself? I mean, you make choices when you go to the gym or the grocery store, so that can take away a lot of the stress. It's just not having the stuff in the. So yeah, this is like immediate, in the moment stressors that can happen that can kind of build up that stress for an effort moment, because you will make mistakes, and I think it's just. I guess in the moment stressors, that's the biggest thing I think about, is people kind of just get so caught up in like sticking to the plan 100%, and
and being like super optimal. And sometimes like me personally, like I've just been doing this for so long that like I'm like thriving for that being optimal now, but if that is going to stress you out, like having this perfect meal timing and having this perfect thing, if that's going to stress you out in the end, then
you need to go back to the basics.
Go back. I mean, we have to have a little bit of flexibility.
Stick to the basics 100%. Like, depending on your goal, especially if it's just like, if it's just fat loss, general population kind of thing, try to lose 20, 40 pounds or whatever it may be. Yeah, just stick to the basics. Protein, calories, cardio, get your workouts in. The basics go a long way, and if you master those basics, those can be your habits compared to going to like, it's easier to fix like 1 or 2 things every couple weeks compared to like 100 things all at once one day. Okay, this is, it gets really stressful. So just ease into it. As far as like some people, to lose body fat, they just take out soda, and that's not stressful. They take out soda, they keep everything else the same, and they lose 10 pounds. Next, okay, let's get our sleep together. Let's get the workouts in better, right? And it's just like you're working up to it.
Something else was on my mind. Just like the cortisol type of stuff. So, I mean, we're in being in a fat loss phase in general. It is stressful on the body. I mean, you are in a caloric deficit. You are doing more cardio than you're probably used to. You're training hard in the gym. I mean, all these things are stressing out the body. So sometimes we just hold on to some water, or maybe we're a little bit inflamed too from the cardio and the training, that sometimes we're just like not seeing that drop that we want within the scale, when all you have to do is just stay consistent with it. And you will see that whoosh within your scale weight, and you will see that number go down. It might take a week, it might take 2 or 3, but as long as you've been sticking to your plan 100%, you will get that result.
Yeah, it's not even within the scale. It can be within the pictures too. So that is like the biggest issue with. So like we talked about, that's like stress in the moment. Earlier in the video, but now we're talking about like your cortisol being raised within your body, and sometimes you don't really notice this type of stuff when your cortisol is raised because you're in a calorie deficit. So if you're eating less, losing body fat, cortisol goes up, water retention will go up too. Okay, and that's just part of it. I mean, there will be times where you won't see a drop on the scale for 3 weeks in the beginning, maybe, or that's how you plateau, and everyone usually like quits. Oh, I'm not losing anymore. It's not working. What's the point? And then they go off track, and that's just the biggest issue right there. So you have to stay consistent. This video should be called stress, fat loss, and consistency. So there's in the moment stressors every day to day, but then there's like weekly stuff you can't even really control. I mean, you can control a little bit more with water intake and stuff like that, but. Right, like your cortisol is going to go up, and then it will reveal itself in the scale with the drop in weight, like she said, but also in your progress photos, you'll lose that water retention, and the true fat loss will be revealed. So it's a consistency factor when you're talking about like a little bit more like physiological cortisol and stuff, not in the moment like, oh my god, I'm stressed, I have to do a to-do list, right, which can help. But so there's 2 different sides to this. Yeah,
and when you're gonna go through with this, you just have to really make sure it's a good moment in your life to be able to go through with this. If you are going through like a divorce right now, or you have some, big issues with like your relationship, or you're about to get married, and there's just like a ton of stressors and you just need to make sure it's a good time in your life where you can go about this. Because if you're like, you have a job that you have like a big presentation coming up like in a couple of months that you really need to prepare for, maybe a fat loss phase like isn't the best thing to do, or a prep isn't the best thing to do right now.
Or aggressive fat loss or a prep. I mean, you can always probably do like a slight deficit of some sort. We don't want to make this an excuse of like, oh, well, I'm really busy right now, I should do it in 3 months from now.
Yeah.
No, like always start now. But like I said, there can be a few things that you could change, right? Whether that's, hey, I need to sleep better, I need to get to the gym more consistent, I need to be a little bit more on it with being in a slight deficit where you don't have to lose a ton of weight each week, but it can be a slower process. It doesn't have to be as aggressive. It doesn't have to be as restrictive. There'll be weeks you could mess up, or days you mess up, but just get back on it the next day. But yeah, like she said, there has to be a right time within it all.
Yeah. I think we pretty much nailed it all. Trying to think if there's something else I wanted to say.
Yeah, just make sure it's the right time. And then communication with your friends and family, and preparing ahead, meal timing, like meal preparing, and just not winging it every day, but like having some type of plan.
That would really stress you out.
A meal prep day to day, like you're doing it the night before for the next day. You don't want to go into the kitchen winging it, taking forever. That's stressful. I mean, then you're spending how much time? It's just not realistic. You got to make it practical. Right? Practical is going to make it less stressful on you. Yeah,
because sometimes like I'll have a client that I give them macros and they sometimes are just like, what do I do with these numbers? What do I do? And that could stress somebody out, going, oh my gosh, look at these numbers I have to hit, and the spreadsheet and the steps and like all this stuff. So that's why you just have to
honestly,
make a meal plan for yourself.
Stop making excuses. It kind of pisses me off. People make excuses, and it's just like they act like this stuff's so hard. I'm sorry, I'm gonna rant for 10 seconds, but they act like it's so hard, and it's like it might be hard, and it might not be the best timing for you. But I do think
there's never a perfect time.
You can prioritize things. You can do time management, and you can make results. You can hit your goals. But you just want to have the right plan and strategy in place, and kind of just like step up to it, overcome that stress, overcome that anxiety, write it down, write what you need to do, think about these actions that you need to do, and then apply it and actually put in the work and work hard. Don't just use it as an excuse. This isn't the right time, I'm stressed. And that could be be appropriate in your context depending on what's going on. But a lot of times don't just use it as an excuse. I mean,
that's why I love contest prep. Like things will always come up during my contest prep, but it's like how I get through it. There's always challenges that are going to come up. So don't let that stop you. You get through it. You get through those challenges right there. Okay, cool. That is about stress. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.